Hello, I'm Tamer Farag, the Partner Ecosystem Lead for Power BI, and I'm here to take you through the Dashboard in a Day Train the Trainer content. We hope you find this content useful and it will help you in organizing Dashboard in a Day events. So, this is the agenda. We'll start by talking about what is Dashboard in a Day, why host an event, what do customers take away from the event, and then how to organize the event. After that, I'll take you through the deck that we've prepared for the presenter to take the attendees through at the beginning of the event, and I'll cover how to deliver that deck to the attendees in the event. So first, what is Dashboard in a Day? Dashboard in a Day is a hands-on workshop that is targeting the business analysts. It's covering the breadth of the Power BI capabilities. Now, as you all know, in Microsoft, we update Power BI Desktop once a month, and we update the Power BI service once a week. So for partners who are trying to create and maintain training content around Power BI, it becomes very, very hard to keep that content up to date. So what we decided to do is to create that content ourselves and offer it for free to all our partners. So Dashboard in a Day is this content. It's a complete and free workshop. We create the presenter decks, the demo scripts, as well as step-by-step lab guides. And we update that content every month and we offer it for free for all our partners. Now, the format of the workshop is a hands-on lab where the attendees will go through the hands-on lab content themselves. It's not a lot of presentations by the trainers, as I'll show in the agenda of the day when we talk about delivering a dashboard in a day. So what are the goals of a dashboard in a day? When we created the content, we were focusing on three things. Number one is helping drive customer to partner connections. So as partners use this content to deliver to customers, they can showcase their expertise and the customers will connect with them and will reach out to them hopefully after the events if they need any help. Number two for us was to increase Power BI usage and adoption. By creating this training and the content, we hope that customers will know how to use the product better and they'll be able to deliver or to adopt the product more. And then number three is to help the Microsoft Field Them partners as well as the community leads in delivering trainings around Power BI. So this first question that you should ask as a partner, why should I host a dashboard in a day? And there are four reasons why we believe you should host a dashboard in a day. Number one is to generate leads. As I explained, by showing your skills and expertise to the customers that will attend the event, then those customers will come back to you for trainings, for consultation, as well as for implementation. Dashboard in a Day has proven to be a great lead generation mechanism for a lot of our partners. Number two, during the day and as you're helping the customer, especially at in the second part of the day where you're helping them with their to bring their own data to life, you can build trust in your ability to meet the customer needs. And by building that trust, as we said, it will help with generating the leads. Number three, if you have customers who purchased Power BI from you and you want to ensure that they are adopting Power BI and driving it, Dashboard in a Day can help you in the accounts, in your accounts, to accelerate the customer adoption by training the users on the product. And then number four, if you're into paid training, Power BI can help you with creating opportunities for paid training. So Power BI is the basic training that all the users need, but there are a lot of other opportunities for advanced training. And if the customers see your capability and they have trust in your ability to deliver the training, then they'll come back to you either to deliver Dashboard in a Day as a paid training, at their offices, or for more advanced trainings around Power BI or DAX or even any other Microsoft products. So what should customers take away from Dashboard in a Day? Walking away from an event, we believe that customers should be able to, number one, understand the value of Power BI. So they know why they should use Power BI. They know how Power BI compares to any competitive products in the market and what a differentiated value prop that it have against those other products in the market. Number two, they should come out of the event having enough experience with the product to be able to go back to their offices and use it right away. So the hands-on lab will enable them to know how to connect to back-end data sources, how to cleanse the data, how to create the reports and dashboards, and how to share those reports and dashboards with other users. Number three, they have to understand how Power BI differentiates from the competition. And I mentioned this when I talked about the value prop for Power BI. So really, even though the hands-on lab does not mention any competitor by name, but it focuses on a lot of features that our competitors do not have today. It shows the value of Power BI and its differentiated value from the competition. And then number four, coming out of the events, customers should recognize the expertise of the partner. So the way the event is organized with the instructor helping the attendees with the lab steps, as well as helping them at the end of the day for creating their own reports and dashboards based on their own data. The event enables the customer to build trust with that partner and really recognize their expertise. The last thing is to enable the customers to know more about what should be the next steps if they want to adopt Power BI and how can they connect and become part of the Power BI community of users that spans more than 300,000 users that are using the products and are collaborating in that community. So as you are taking this content and trying to use it, there are some usage guidelines around the content. And we want to make sure that anybody who is using this content is aware of those guidelines. So number one is you cannot make any changes to the data set. So we've licensed this data set to use it with the training. And as part of the agreement that we have, nobody can take that data set and change the data in any way. Number two is sometimes partners want to add their own flavor to the training. They want to add their own expertise, make some changes to the content. And as we are offering the training for free, we also know that you can do any of those things, and we support and encourage you to, change the content based on your experience and to add your own experience to it. But if you want to do that, then you cannot use the Dashboard in a Day brand. You need to change the name of the training to something different. If you want to use the Dashboard in a Day brand for the training, then you need to keep the content exactly the way it is without any change. And then number three is the person who is presenting the training should be really familiar with Power BI so that they are able to answer any questions that the attendees will ask throughout the day. So it's not that you can get anyone to present the content. You need somebody who's an expert in Power BI and knows how to present it and how to answer questions. So what should you be landing in a dashboard in a day? Now this slide is part of the presenter deck. It summarizes the differentiated value props of Power BI. And I wanted to talk about this slide early to make sure that you're aware of this slide and it's important. This slide is really what differentiates Power BI versus the competition. And we want to make sure that as you're landing it and the rest of the slides that support it, you're really clear on this value prop. So number one is Power BI is a SaaS service. It provides the ability to sign up in less than 5 seconds and get value in less than 5 minutes. So that in itself is a real differentiator than any competitive products. So there are 6 differentiators on this slide that are really important. Number one is the ability to get real-time dashboards. Now, with all the sensors and all the devices out there, a ton of data is generated. Having the ability to see that data real time instead of looking back at what happened, looking at what is happening right now is a true differentiator for Power BI. Number two is the ability to ask questions in English and get answers right away. Not every user will know how to create, amazing visuals, but every user will know how to ask a question in English. And if built right, then Power BI will enable you to get answers to those questions right away. Number three is the integration with Excel. Now, Excel is a tool that is used by, more than 1 billion users out there who use it every day. It is the number one tool for analytics. Any competitive product will have a functionality to export to Excel. But with Power BI, the integration with Excel is way beyond what you can get in any of those products. You can take all your investments that you've done in Excel from models, from reports, from sheets, and export them to Power BI. And you can also connect directly, if you like analyzing in Excel, you can connect directly from Excel to Power BI and continue to do your analytics in Excel, leveraging the one version of the truth in the models in Power BI. Number four are custom visualizations. Now, with Power BI, we provide a rich set of visualization, but we know that we'll never be able to satisfy the needs of every single customer in the world. This is why we decided to open source our visualization engine to enable our partners as well as our customers to create their own custom visualization that will satisfy their needs 100%. So this is a huge opportunity for you as partners to get into the business of building custom visualizations for the customer, but it also provides the customers that confidence that whatever they'll need, they will be able to build through partners or themselves for sure. Number four are the solutions from Microsoft as well as our partners. So in Power BI, we offer in Microsoft a set of solution templates that we offer for free for our customers for their common business scenarios. But we have hundreds of solutions that are already created by our partners. So for the customers, instead of going and building their own solutions, they can go and check the partner solution showcase and find a solution that they can deploy right away in partnership with this partner. And this is a huge opportunity for you. So if you don't have your solutions today in the partner showcase, I encourage all of you to go and do it. But this is a real differentiator, having real industry solutions that customers can purchase or can work with the partners to implement will accelerate their adoption dramatically and solve a lot of their problems. And then the last thing is what we call act and automate. And when you think about modern BI is more than just taking data to insight. Modern BI is more taking data and transforming it into action. So from insight to action, having the ability to take that insight and quickly act on it is a true differentiator. And by leveraging Power Apps and Microsoft Flow, which is in the family of Power BI or the Power Suite for Microsoft, you are able to take those insights and quickly using, developing solutions that require no code or very, very little code, any Power user can build those actions and those applications that will enable you to take your insight and transform it into action. So now let me talk a little bit about how do you organize a dyad. And we split this part of the content into three parts. Number one is how to prepare for a dyad, how to deliver a dyad, and then how do you follow up on the dyad in the end. So let me start by how to prepare a dyad. So this is about the logistics. How do you, execute a successful events. And the best practices that we have here are best practices that we've collected from executing hundreds of dashboard in a day events that taught us a lot about how to be successful with executing those events. So number one, you need to make sure whatever location you're hosting the event has good network connectivity. As I mentioned on the previous slide, Power BI is a SaaS service, so you need to be able to connect to the internet, and you need, when you have 30 or 40 individuals in the room, you need to be able to have good connectivity for them to have a good experience during the event. Second thing is set up the room in classroom style. So all the attendees will have their laptops. They'll be spending most of their time working on their laptops. So they need a place where they can put their laptops, and the presenter will take them through some presentations and demos. So having a classroom style where they can see the presenter and they can work on their hands-on labs is very, very recommended. The third thing is around printing the lab manuals for participants. So one of the learnings that we had is that participants really enjoy having a paper copy of the hands-on lab so that they can take notes on it, they can reference it later when they go back to their office and check their notes. And there are several ways where you can do this without printing the manuals. You can have a second screen where the attendees can, have their manuals on that second screen. You can offer, tablets where they can take notes and maybe send, the content to themselves with their notes at the end of the event. But the more and more we execute those events, the feedback that we've gotten from the customers is that they prefer to have a printed lab manual. Now, from a registration perspective, if you want to run a one-to-many event, it is recommended that you create a registration page where attendees can register and they can input information about their company sizes, their roles. So this will help you to, as you are generating leads to those events. Because when you create a registration page, then you can start promoting those events through your multiple channels. And that takes me to the, marketing part of the event. How do you market the event? So you can use your own channels, like your own website, maybe do some paid advertising if you want, or, word of mouth through your community or your salespeople. But you can also use the Power BI community. So as I mentioned earlier, Power BI has a rich community with more than 300,000 monthly active users. So that rich community has several forums where you can go and promote your events, and you'll get a lot of leads through this community. But in order for you, of course, to promote it through the community, it is recommended to have a registration page so that you can put the link in there and the users can register through that registration page. Now, when individuals registered for the training, we recommend that you have some communication with them to tell them about the class. One of the important things is that the content for the class is around 600 megs. So the content is divided into two parts, and I'll talk about this on the next slide. But in general, the attendees will need to download that content. And there is, it's preferable, even if you have network connectivity in the class, to have the attendees download the content before they come to the class. And there are several reasons for that. Number one, the size of the content. And then number two is also because some attendees will not be able to download the content or install the software unless they go and check with their IT. If their IT department has locked down the machines and they're not able to install any software on them, or they're not able to download any content, then it's good for them to have that discussion with their IT departments when they're there in their offices, and they can do it easily. So we recommend sending the attendees a confirmation of registration email. And during that confirmation email, you can include information about the prerequisites, which will include asking them to download the content from aka.ms/Diane, as well as installing Power BI Desktop. Now, as I said, the content usually updates every month, so we usually recommend asking the attendees to download the content 4 to 5 days prior to the event, and not very long prior to the event. Otherwise, the different versions of the content, they'll be using a different version than the one that you might be presenting in the class. In this email, we also encourage you to include information about your location, how to get there, where should they park, and also survey the attendees about their dietary preferences. So Dashboard in a Day is intended to be a full day event. It's a 9 to 5 event. So if you want to host an event that is 9 to 5, then we recommend that you offer the attendees lunch. And asking them about their dietary preferences might be a good thing, so that you can prepare for anybody who's vegetarian or vegan or needs a kosher meal, and you're well prepared to do that. And then also, as I said, we recommend the attendees bring their own data with them for the second part of the event. So during your communication, it's encouraged that you let them know that they need to do that, and encourage them to bring their data. And then we encourage you to send them a reminder. Sending a reminder to the attendees a couple of days prior to the event is very beneficial, because if they are not planning to attend, they might realize that they've registered for this event, and this might give you heads up that they might reach out to you to let you know that they're not planning to attend, which will enable you to invite other attendees to the event. And at the same time, this is a good time to remind them to download the content and install Power BI Desktop. Now, so actually, first here in this PowerPoint that you'll be getting with this training, you'll have some templates for those emails with some good examples that we've created to offer to you. You can feel free to use them exactly the way they are, or to make changes to them. The one thing that I wanted to mention, that even though you might do all of this and remind the attendees, you might end up with one or two cases where the attendees were either not able to install the software, or were not able to sign up for Power BI. And I'll talk about the sign up on the next slide. But in case the attendees are not able to install the software, maybe their IT department has locked down their machines completely and they don't have the right. If you ask them about this and they communicate back to you that they're not able to do it, then you can have a backup plan, like loaning them laptops, or offering them connectivity to a virtual machine where the software is installed. And this way they can participate in the class without having the software on their machine if they're not able to do it. So that was the first part about preparation regarding the logistics. The second part is around the trainers and the prerequisites for attendees. So you need to prepare your trainers, and the first thing we recommend is to have a ratio of 1 to 15 instructor to attendee. As I explained earlier, the instructor will go around the class and help the attendees with the hands-on labs, answer their questions. So we find that a ratio of 1 to 15 is a good ratio to enable the instructor to attend to all the attendees' questions. If you have more attendees than this ratio, usually it's hard for the instructor to go around the room and answer every question. So again, we don't force you to do that, but that is a recommendation from us. The second part is around downloading the content. So the content is actually split into two parts. There is the partner content, which includes the presentation decks, the demo scripts, train the trainer material, as well as this training that you're viewing right now. So if you've got this content, I assume that you know this link already and you're able to access it. But this content is protected by MPN, so you need to use your your Microsoft ID that is connected to your MPN in order to access this content. The second part of the content is the customer content. And that part includes the lab manuals, the data sets, and it can be downloaded from https aka.ms/dyad, which is a short link, very easy to remember for all the attendees. Now, this content is also hosted on MPN, but it does not require MPN access. And as I mentioned earlier, this content is really large. It's more than 500 megs, so you need to make sure that attendees are downloading that content prior to the event. Now, in preparation as a trainer, you need to go through the latest dyad content. Even if you went through the content a month ago or 2 months ago, as you know, as the content changes, you need to make sure that you're up to date on the latest content, because what your attendees will be getting is the latest content that they've downloaded. The second thing is you need to become familiar with the latest product updates. So again, as I mentioned, the product updates every month. So the easiest way to do this is to either go through our edX course that we release every month, check the What's New pages, as well as watch the webinar that we released every month with every release of the desktop and with the What's New pages on the service. Now, for some user, every user should be able to sign up for Power BI easily on the website. But a lot of time, what will happen is the users will not be able to sign up because their administrators have the ability to block viral sign up. So the Power BI administrator or the Office 365 administrators have the ability to block viral sign up for Power BI. If that is the case, then the attendees would have not been able to sign up. Now again, if you send them the reminders early and provided them the link to sign up, hopefully they have worked with their IT department to enable them to sign up for the service. But if you end up with a case where an attendee was not able to sign up, then we encourage you to create, a backup tenant with a username and password. Now you can use your own tenant that you're using inside your organization. For example, as a partner, you get access to a Power BI tenant, and you can create 1 or 2 users to use during dashboard in a day, for those attendees that weren't able to sign up to the service. Or, you can just create a trial tenant for dashboard in a day if you have an extra domain that you can use, and then you can, offer your attendees usernames and passwords through this tenant. The last thing is around making sure that you have a copy of the customer content on an external drive or a USB, so that if the attendees were not able to download the content prior to the event, you have a copy that you can share with them during the class and they can copy all the content quickly. Now, if you have any questions around the content, around technicalities of the event, you have any feedback about the content, something that is not working or something that you couldn't install, we encourage you to send those questions to the alias that we have created, which is dyadq@microsoft.com. If you send us any of your questions, we will do our best to answer them as soon as we can and provide you the answers that you need for your event. Now, from an attendee's perspective, they need, a computer with a minimum 2 cores and 4 gigabytes of memory, running Windows 7 or later, or Windows Server 2008 R2 or later. They will need internet connectivity, so they should be able to connect to your wireless network in, your office or in the location where you're hosting the event. And they need Power BI desktop installed, and it requires Internet Explorer 10 or higher. So those are the minimum requirements for attendees. They're included in the emails that you send them, and we hopefully those won't be a problem for any of your attendees. The second part is delivering the event. So during the day of the event, here are our recommendations and our best practices. Number one is arrive early. Arrive at least 30 to 60 minutes before the start of the session to make sure that you set up your laptop, you welcome the attendees. If you're having catering, get the catering set up as well. Ensure the attendees were able to install the software. So have the discussions with them, make sure that they install the software, they were able to sign up to the service through the link that we provided. And if not, then execute your backup plan, whatever it was. Now, from a sign-up perspective, please ask the attendees to sign up through aka.ms/PBI Dyad training. Now, this link that we created will enable us to track how many attendees signed up to the service through Dashboard in a Day, and it helps us with showing the value of the classes and the return of investment that we are getting from building this content and updating it. So ensuring that attendees sign up through this link will help us in creating this content and maintaining it and providing, to our leadership teams the value that we're getting from this content. Now, the one important recommendation about delivering the training is do not deliver it as an instructor-led training where the instructor is going step by step and the attendees are following. Our learning from, again, running hundreds of those events is that this results in poor feedback from the attendees, and it results in a bad experience for the attendees. So let attendees run through the hands-on labs at their own pace. There are some attendees that are proficient and they'll go through the labs in a couple of hours, and there are other attendees that will need more time to go through the content. If you're doing it as an instructor-led training, those attendees that are proficient will feel that the class is too slow, and those attendees that need more time will feel that the class is too fast for them and they're not able to catch up. Running the events where the attendees will go through the content on their own pace will enable you to be a lot more successful and have more time to go and help the attendees that need help, or letting the attendees that want to go through the content quickly do it without having to wait for anyone else. Now, during lunch and break, we have a couple of slides that I'll take you through as I take you through the content to enable, landing things about the community and the data, the visuals gallery and the user groups. But this is also an excellent time for you to show your solutions and to the attendees. Now, leverage this time to really show the attendees, your Power BI solution, your Power BI expertise, more information about your company so that you establish your credibility during that time. Now, at the end of the event, ask attendees for their feedback and satisfaction before leaving the session. One of our learnings as well is that if you survey the attendees during the event, you'll get better results than if you send them the survey a couple of days later or even a couple of hours later. So by asking them to fill the survey and get the feedback from them, you'll be able to improve your delivery of the content, and you'll be able to also know if they're interested in more follow-up and connect with them and collect their information. The next thing is around the follow-up of the event. So make sure that you follow up with the attendees after the event. A good best practice is the day of the event to send them a thank you email for attending, and in this email you can include some additional resources to help them with their journey and their next steps. And then another best practice is 1 to 2 weeks after the event, send them another email. Now, as you know, Power BI updates every month, so you'll always have something new to talk about. You can provide an update on what's new with Power BI. You can check with the attendees if they had the chance to work with their own data, and ask them if they'll be interested in one of your solutions or in follow-up training. And by doing this, this will give you an opportunity to really reconnect with those attendees and remind them of your company and yourself. Now, some of our partners do some good best practices around sharing, a gift, and that gift doesn't have to be something physical, but it can be like an ebook or a white paper with the attendees, something that, or linked to, some webinar that you recorded. By doing this, you will be offering them something for free in this email, which would encourage them to read the email and click on the links in this email. Now, we would like to hear from you. So provide feedback about your experience. Send us, an email on diadq@Microsoft with feedback about your experience, the workshop content, feedback on the product, how did it help you be successful. So by doing this, you will let us know, and we'll be able to either update the content, we'll be able to get your best practice and include them in our Train the Trainer and help you with any issues that you are facing. So with that, let me take you through the deck for the day and how to deliver that deck to your attendees in details. Now, this is the agenda for the day. So usually the day will start at 9 in the morning and it will end up at 5. The first half hour is this presentation that we're talking about here. So this is where, we're expecting you to introduce them to Power BI and to Dashboard in a Day, what it is. And again, we encourage you can either present more about your company either here at the beginning of the day or later at lunchtime. Now, from there is the, the Power BI desktop content. So the labs are split into 3 parts. The first part is the desktop content. This is where you take them through creating, reports and dashboards, and then you share them through the service. So there are 2 labs for the service. The first lab is what we call Service 1, where you're sharing the content on the service, and then the last lab is more advanced around configuring the gateways and doing refreshes and doing some more advanced features and functionality. And then the last part of the day is actually what we call bring your own data. What we recommend for the attendees during the events and during the invitations is to bring their own data to the event so that they can work on building their own dashboards and reports during the event. Now, all the attendees are getting this information. This is your opportunity to really help them, as we explained, to get more value from their data. So the way the day is laid out is we expect the content to actually be done at 2 p.m. We don't expect the content to be done at 5. Now, there are some cases where some of the attendees will take all the way up to 5 p.m. to go through all the content. But for those who finish the content early, if they are able to bring their own data, then you'll be able to work with them to get something that they can go and share right away when they go back to their offices, and this way they can drive a lot of usage and adoption. Now, we've heard different things from talking to partners around bring your own data. Some of the customers say that they can't take any of their data outside their organization, and have it shared in a room where you have a lot of users. And it's a fair point. It's a fine point for some of those customers. Some of the customers will bring data that is not very, very confidential that they can have. Now, they're not sharing the data with the whole room. They're actually sitting on their laptop, which is their work laptop. It's not, something that is beyond their, like outside their corporate laptop, and they're analyzing the data themselves. So again, we encourage you to, as you're reaching out to the attendees, to encourage them to do this, to get their data, bring it, and play with it so that they can get value from it. And this will be your opportunity to position your company, to all of them as the subject matter experts. Now, this first slide talks about what is the Dashboard in a Day. So Dashboard in a Day, as I said, is a hands-on lab for analysts to
show them all the features. Now, at the end of the day, the attendees would have created a page of a report. Now, what you'll be demoing in the first demo script is you'll be demoing the features of Power BI in a report that we've created. And throughout the day, the attendees will be building one of the pages that are in this report. So this is the end result that they'll be getting. So this screenshot here shows you an end result of the report. They'll be working to build just one page from the report there. So this is how you set up the context. Now, one of the things is every slide actually in this deck has speaker notes for you to use. We hope that we provided good speaker notes that you can use. I'm doing this training on top of the speaker notes to tell you the tips and tricks that we didn't put in the speaker notes. But in general, the speaker notes should be enough for most of you to go and deliver that content. So with that, let me go to the next slide, which is the evolution of BI. So this is how we start. If you have attended, any of our presentation, this is how we start the story to them, telling them why we invented Power BI and why Power BI exists in the world. So here's the pitch. So BI started actually very early in the computer days. It started in the 70s. And we have the what we call the first wave of BI, which we call corporate BI. And in corporate BI, it was IT that was responsible for creating all the dashboards and the reports for the end users. Now, again, IT is limited in resources and number of individuals and the number of reports that they can create. So when you have to prioritize, usually IT will prioritize either the leadership of the company. If you're the CEO and you're asking for a report, we'll build it for you for sure. Or reports that are applicable across a very, very large number of users, right? So if you want like an HR vacation report that every user in the organization will use, IT will do it. But every other user who needs access to information and their own reports will be put in a queue and will either, get deprioritized or will never even get their reports at all for this. So again, corporate BI is great. You have one version of the truth. You have one team of experts who are building reports that can build them faster than anybody else, but it's a very small number of experts serving a very large number of users. And as we move more and more into a data-driven world where we have a lot more data, it's very, very hard to work. So that took us to the second wave of BI that we call self-service BI. And actually in self-service BI, what happened is every team, every department in the company would hire what they call the analysts. And this analyst is somebody who's an expert. They are the BI expert or the reporting expert, and they'll be responsible for building the reports and the dashboard for the department. And you end up with a lot of those analysts inside the organization whose only job is to satisfy the reporting of the department head and the department team and the leadership team of every department. So this was much, much better because we had way more users who are creating reports and building those reports, but still you didn't get to everybody in the organization. And the more data you have and the more users you have, the more you need to move to what we call end user BI. And this is the third wave that we are trying to start with Power BI, where every single user in the organization can build their own reports and dashboards and get the information that they need when they need it without waiting in queue for somebody to build the reports and make this one change whenever they want to add a column or remove a column or add a field or remove a field or add a calculation. They have to go through somebody, ask them to do the report and wait in line for it to happen. So if we want to enable end users to create BI, then we need to start with the end user needs. So the objective of this slide is really actually to tell you how we thought about Power BI, and we started with the end user in mind. So if you're an end user and you want to build your own reports, what do you do? So first, you start by needing access to the data. So you need to access the data. You need an easy way for you to connect to the different data sources that exist in the organization and get access to them. Now, once you have access to the data, then you need to take that data and clean it or cleanse it, because usually the data is not in the format that you need. So, the data can be in Excel sheets, and those Excel sheets can be formatted in a certain way with a lot of, extra rows or extra columns, information that you don't need. Sometimes the data will be categorized differently. Let's say that we categorize it as, small, medium, large, but you want to group small and medium together into a new, small and medium category. It's very hard for you to get it right away, so you need to do that cleaning. Sometimes the data will actually have errors, and a lot of time you'll have empty fields that don't have values in them. You'll have data that is not connected to the other system, so you need to take that data and clean it. From there, you need to mash up data from multiple sources. Again, for an end user, not everything that they will need will be in the same location. So they will have to, connect to one Excel sheet to pull their data. They might need to connect to an application, their CRM system, to pull another data. They need to connect to, a database to pull more data. And then they need to mash up all this data together and connect it together so that they can produce the reports that they want. Now, once they do this, then they need to explore the data. So explore the data means that they'll go drill into the data, drill down, drill up, pivot the data to try to find the hidden insights and the hidden information in the data. So this exploration phase will allow the end users to go and find the story that they want to go and tell everybody else. Now, once they find those insights, then they want to visualize them, because we all know that a picture is worth 1,000 words, right? So once you find an insight, you want to put it in a nice graphical way so that anybody that will look at it will understand it right away by looking at this one graph, by looking at this one picture. Anybody will be able to analyze and drill down and do this through the visuals that you create. And then once you create this visual, then you want to share it with other users in the organization. And once you share this with other users in the organization, they will take it and use it as their own data source to build on top of it. You'll get a report and you say, oh, but for my business, I need this extra field, or for my business, I need to connect it to this extra data source and mash up the data again and then produce this new report that will allow me to, get more value from it. And you get into this virtuous circle where, the more you share, the more people will have access to more data, the more they can get value from the data, the more they share data, and you get going again and again and again. So that is the pitch that we pitch to the users in the organization. Now, this is how Power BI was built. Power BI was built to allow end users to access any data, any way they like, and access it from anywhere. So any data, whether it's in the cloud, whether it's on-premise, access it from their PC, their mobile, their augmented reality or virtual reality device, and they can access it in any way, using reports from inside apps. They can use it for automation to drive action, and I'll talk about this more in the future. Now, when we think of the user journey, so like we talked about the user needs, the next set of slides are actually organized around those user needs. So they'll take you step by step into every one of those 6 user needs that we talk about and tell you what it is. So the first thing is access all the data, and I think here the message is you can access, big data, you can access data on-premise or externally, but the one thing that we want you to highlight to the users, which I think we don't stress enough, is accessing data directly from services. So the idea that you are accessing not a database, because end users don't know databases, they're not expert in big data. Again, you need somebody more sophisticated like an analyst to do it. But if you're an end user, you have access to your CRM application, you have access to Google Analytics, you have access to your supply chain management application. Power BI can connect to those SaaS services directly using your username and password, and then pull the data for you right away from this SaaS application and enable you to visualize it and see it in a good way. We have something called content packs that even includes not only the connectivity, but also pre-built dashboards and reports, so that for an end user who wants to get something within 5 minutes, they can really get value within 5 minutes. And I think this is something that we don't stress enough, and it's a very, very important thing to highlight. The next thing is cleansing the data. So again, here we talk about how the functionality is very similar to Excel. It's a very, very rich functionality. When you think about it, this is also another feature where Power BI is way ahead of the competition. A lot of the other products in the market, and I'll mention this to you on the call, like when our top competitors are, Tableau and ClickDeck, for example. Those tools cannot do the rich transformation functionality that exists in Power BI. As you all know, the ETL, the extract, transform, and load in any BI project is more than 60% of the project. So Power BI enables the end users to do this in a very simple and easy way, similar to using a tool like Office. The interface is the same, similar to Excel, but it's extremely rich. Now, when you'll see the lab, you'll see that we're spending a lot of time on this part where we're showing some functionality again from Excel, but it shows the richness of the functionality around transformations in the product. So highlight this to the users as you're presenting, because this is something that they'll need. Now, Tableau is good only if you have one big flat table that you can connect to and pull all the data and then analyze it. But Power BI will allow you to clean up the data, mash up the data from multiple sources, connect it together, and find those correlations. Once you do that, then the next thing, of course, is the exploration of data. And this is where there are two things. Number one is exploring data using visuals is cool, but Power BI provides two new things that are now beyond just doing visuals. Number one is quick insights. So if you all know, we just introduced quick insights now in the desktop. So now you can very quickly find the insights and the hidden trends in the data without doing any work. Okay, so that's one thing that we want to highlight. The second thing is the natural language Q&A. So not every user is, an expert in visual design, but any user can ask questions in English. Now again, today it's in English and Spanish, but if you're asking questions in English, if the model is built, in a smart way so that, the fields have clear names, then you can start typing or asking questions, and even with Cortana, asking those questions, without typing, and you will get the Power BI to create the reports for you. So this is amazing functionality that end users would really, really appreciate. The next thing is visualizing the data. So again, as I said, Power BI enables, visualization. And now what we've realized after building a lot of good visuals, I hope, is that not every single visual that is needed by our customers we'll be able to create every single visual that our customer needs. Like, this is something that we will not be able to do. So even though we provide a very rich set of visuals, what we've done is we've open sourced our visualization engine so that any end user, any customer, any of our partners can build their own visuals. Now, you can make a business actually building visuals for customers. It's a simple language like, JavaScript, and you can quickly build visuals that will satisfy the needs exactly of the customer. We have a very rich set of visuals that are available for all our customers, to go and access. If they want, that are available for free, and then if they need something very specific, they can either build it or contract you as one of our partners to go and build it for them. After that, the last thing is around sharing reports. And again, the idea is you want to share your story with the whole world. So you share it either inside your organization or you share it outside your organization. Again, we have rich clients that will work on Windows, iOS, or Android, so you can access BI from any device, which is a big advantage. We can share with the right security inside the organization. We now offer with Power BI Premium and the Power BI apps the ability to share this with a very, very large number of users in a very cost-effective way. And if you want to publish it to the whole world, you can do this using Publish to Web, and you can share it beyond. Again, we've got the story and the talk track on how to position those things in the deck, but I wanted to make sure that you're aware of it. Now, this next slide is actually the differentiated value prop versus the competition. When we think of how do we differentiate versus the competition, this is the slide that I want you to think about when you're landing this. If you want to position Power BI versus all of its competitor, the differentiation is here. So this slide and the following 6 slides are the pitch that we pitch to the customers in the event. This is our only pitch that we're doing in the event. And I want to make sure that you're clear on how to do this pitch. So again, the talk track talks about it, but in general, we talked about some of those things. But number one is real-time dashboards. Having the ability to integrate Azure streaming and stream data into Power BI to have real live dashboards. Now, when you're presenting, this slide actually moves. When I'm sharing it here, on the in Skype, it doesn't move. But the reality is the picture in it moves, so it's a live slide that will show you a real-time, data. So this is a functionality or a feature that is not available in any of the other competitive products. If you want to see real-time your production system, how it's doing, if you want to track IoT information, if you're connecting to IoT devices and you want to track their performance and their failures, and you want this to be real-time, if you're connected to a flight like we do in our demo, and you want to know what's happening real-time, then you can do this. Number two, of course, is natural language query. And I talked about natural language query earlier, but here we talk about the integration with Cortana and how, if you integrate Power BI with Cortana, you don't even need to open Power BI and, connect to your, phone or the web. You can just from Cortana ask a question and Power BI will get you the answer right away. Number three is the integration with Excel. Now, when you think about it, all the other tools in the market will have the ability to export to Excel. This is like something that is, needed for any tool to work. But Excel has more than, 1.5 billion users who are using, 500 million users who are using the tool in the world. So when we are integrating with Excel, we wanted to have, better together story. So the integration with Excel goes beyond just publishing to Excel. Number one is you can share Excel sheets inside Power BI, and you can share your Excel reports inside Power BI, as you can see from the publish to Power BI. Now, a lot of our customers, a lot of our customers invested years and years building, pivot tables in Excel and Power Pivot models in Excel. We don't want them to start from scratch. So if you've built your Power Pivot models in Excel, you can just publish them to Power BI and use them inside Power BI. So this is a very important thing beyond just exporting. All the investments that you've made for years and years and years, you can do that quickly. The other way around, if you've built models in Power BI, you can connect from Excel. Now again, you can for sure export them to Excel, but even better, if you want to use Excel as your analytics tool, you can connect from Excel to your Power BI model and be able to analyze the data in Excel. So if you're used to pivot tables, you're the pivot table guru in the world, then you can very, very easily still use this experience and this expertise. So again, the better together story around the integration with Excel, given the fact that all of the users that you'll be pitching to will be using Excel one way or the other. So you can either import the data into Power BI, you can import the models into Power BI, you can publish the Excel sheets. If you have a graph that you designed or a visual that you designed and you spent months doing it, you will be able to publish it to Power BI very, very easily. And then the other way around, connecting to Power BI and leveraging the data is also an important thing to pitch. The next thing is around the custom visuals, and we talked about it again. We have the ability for your customers to create the specific visual that they need to show the information to their users the way they want. And this is something that is not available in all the other tools. The next thing is around, the solutions. Now, if your customer does not want to start from scratch, we have a very large number of Power BI solutions that are available from our partners, like yourself. Now, this will be, a high level. We want you to position the solutions here. Customers can use those solutions for two ways. Number one is they can just check them to learn, right? If they don't want to get this solution from the partner, they just can go and check this large number of solutions to learn best practices on how to develop good solutions, to see what the partners are offering and try to build it themselves. Or even better, of course, they can go and contact those partners and get the solutions from them to implement. But having this rich set of industry solutions is very, very helpful. The last thing is what we call Act and Automate. And Act and Automate is taking BI to the next level. So when you think of BI, we've always positioned BI, even in this deck until that point, we've always positioned BI as data to insight. So, you move from data to reporting, to analytics, to, what if or predictions, and then you get to the insight. But once you get to the insight, then you want to quickly move from insight to action. You want to be able to take that insight and not, wait months before you take action. You want to be able to take action right away. So this is about beyond Power BI. If you think of, Power Apps and Microsoft Flow, by integrating them in Power BI and integrating Power BI in them, then you can change the time from insight to action to be really quick and completely automated. So you can say, if a certain threshold is hit, I want you to go, the system to go and do 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to notify this person. I want to notify this, create this alert. I want to send this email. By doing this, then you're really providing your customers real value that they can get. And again, this is something that is not very easy to do. We include the latest Gartner Magic Quadrant, so I'm sure you all know the Gartner Magic Quadrant and how to position it. You've got the ability to execute on one axis and the completeness of vision on the other axis. Microsoft, Tableau, and Qlik are the only companies in the Leaders Quadrant. As you can see, Microsoft, from a completeness of vision, is ahead of anybody else. We're number one on completeness of vision compared to all the other vendors that are in the market. And on our ability to execute, again, we're on par with the number one competitor there. So as you can see, this is Gartner is recognizing what Microsoft is doing and positioning us accordingly in the Magic Quadrant. The last point is around the fastest growing BI vendor. Now, just to be clear, those numbers are not new. Those numbers are very old. Those numbers are from May last year. They're more than a year old. They're a year and a half old. Now, marketing controls what we can say and what we can't say externally. They want to have their moments and amplify the message. But still, those numbers are staggering. Those numbers are really huge compared to any other number. The message that we want to land on this slide is a lot of customers are adopting Power BI, and you will be surrounded by a very large, vibrant community of customers across the world who are adopting Power BI. So with that, so that is the pitch deck that you'll be pitching through the day. Then from there, you'll be doing the Power BI desktop demo. So this demo script will be in the partner, content that you'll be downloading. This is a demo that will explain to the customer some of the features and functionalities that you talked about. Now, one quick thing that I want to mention is, in general, the dashboard in a day content, the lab manual, does not include any feature that is in preview or that will be coming soon. Now we talk about this, we have demos and presentations of those features, but the lab manual itself every feature in there, everything that we use is actually released, GAs, general availability. We don't do any preview. In the demo, we might show some of the features that are still in preview so that you can excite the customers about it. So again, I wanted to mention that to you so that you know. And then from there, this is the hands-on learning where your customers will go through Power BI desktop and will go through the first lab, and then another demo for the service, and then they'll go through the second lab. And then after that is lunchtime. So during lunchtime, we have a couple of slides that we included in there. Number one of those slides is what we call the data stories gallery. So the data stories gallery is not like the solution showcase where our partners are offering solutions that they're able to create. The data stories gallery is end users, cool end users who are sharing their cool reports that they're proud of with the rest of the world. So you'll find some really cool reports in there that you can learn from, that you can explore and play with. They might not be very, very useful, but they're really cool to see and go through. The number two thing that we highlight there again is, the partner showcase. And we put it again, even though we put a couple of slides ago, because this is your opportunity to show some of your solutions here. So here, we want you to go and say, hey, let me show you the solutions that we have in the showcase. And if you have customers in the same industry as your solution, then probably this will resonate with them very, very well and can give you, good leads from the event. The third thing is the user groups. So we want to promote the Power BI user groups. So we have 145 user groups worldwide. The user groups have an online presence as well as a physical presence where they meet in meetings. And we want to make sure that, as I said at the beginning of the call, we want all the attendees to know how to engage with the community. So the story gallery, the community that I'll have a slide on after this one, and the user groups are great places for them to start. Now, I'll do a pitch for you here as partners. The user groups are a good place for you to find good candidates if you want to hire, because those are the users that are passionate about Power BI. They're also a good place for you to go and show your expertise. If you go and sponsor the user groups, then you'll be able to, be present whenever any individuals who are interested in Power BI go and meet. So this will give you good visibility if you are interested. So again, position the user groups to them and tell them to go check them out on pbiusergroups.com and info@pbiusergroups.com. And then the last slide is about the community. So again, we have a very vibrant Power BI community. We just announced that we surpassed 300,000 monthly active users a couple of months ago. So this is public information right now. So go and join the community, check the forums. Again, we encourage them to go and engage with the community. With that, we go through, the second part of the hands-on lab, the service, and then after that, this is the section around, bring your own data and build reports and dashboards on your own data. So this is the section where you'll spend time with the attendees, helping them with building their reports and again, showing your expertise. And then that's it for the slides. You take them through a Q&A. If they have any questions that they have for you, then they can go and start asking those questions at that point in time. So again, now that we're done with the deck, I wanted to put the link again for the dashboard in a day queue at Microsoft.com. This is the alias that you can use to send any questions that you might have prior to the event, during the event, or post-event. If you have any feedback on the content, things that you would like to see, things that like any issues that you find with the content that you want us to fix, please send us an email at diatq@microsoft.com. Thank you very much for your time. I hope that you found this content useful, and I hope that you'll be delivering a lot of dashboard in a day events, and it will help you and your business. Thank you and have a nice day.